All-Nigerian Judges Conference in Abuja. He urged the judges to ignore such insinuations and support his administration's fight against corruption. State House correspondent Nabuchi Okim Nabuchi sent in the report.
The 2017 edition of the biennial All-Nigerian Judges Conference is targeted at creating a platform for members of the bench to discuss challenges confronting the judiciary. Speaking at the opening of the conference, President Buhari denied insinuations that a raid on some judges' restaurants on October 8, 2016 was an attempt to intimidate the judiciary by the executive. The raid of the judges' houses by operatives of the Department of State Services was trailed by divergent views by Nigerians. And this will be the first time President Buhari will be speaking on the raid on judges' restaurants.
Let me again assure the judicial community this action taken by executive was in no way a prelude to usurping the powers of the National Judicial Council or aimed at intimidating the judiciary as wrongly portrayed in some sections of the media.
President Buhari also advocated speedy dispensation of justice by the courts as a way of decongesting the nation's prisons.
Efforts of these delays and discontinuities range from loss of confidence in the judicial system to overcrowding of prisons.
According to the Chief Justice of the Federation, Walter Onogen, efforts are ongoing to reform the judiciary.
You will all agree with me that over time the judiciary, due to its conservative nature, had stagnated in its operations while the other arms of government have continued to undergo reforms. That explains why, upon my assumption of office as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, I set up a steering committee on reform of the nation's judiciary.
The theme of the conference is strengthening judicial integrity and the rule of law.
And now President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned the death of elder statesman and former Vice President Dr. Alex Ifeanyichukwu Ekwueme. He said Dr. Ekweme's unwavering commitment to the unity of Nigeria had been a major encouragement to many governments. The president, in a statement issued by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, described the 85-year-old who died on Sunday in a London hospital as one whose regular counsels on national issues and mediations for peaceful coexistence would be sorely missed. He condoled with Nigerians, the government and people of Anambra State over the loss of the family's patriarch. President Buhari recalled the personal sacrifices he made in helping to lay the foundation for sustainable democracy in Nigeria. He said the former vice president worked assiduously to improve the livelihood of many poor and underprivileged people through the Alex Ekwueme Foundation, describing him as a man who served this country and humanity. The president prayed that the Almighty God would receive the soul of the departed and grant his family the fortitude to bear the loss. The death of the Second Republic vice president was announced on Monday in a statement signed by his younger brother and traditional ruler of the Oko Kingdom, Professor Las Ekwueme. And now Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the present administration in Nigeria, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, will retool the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, with a view of making the policy fully operational. He disclosed this in his address during a lecture delivered by the first professor of medicine in Nigeria, Emeritus Professor Theophilus Ogunlesi, marking the Diamond Jubilee of the University College Ibadan, UCH. Osinbajo disclosed that the ultimate funding plan as a government is comprehensive retooling of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Through the investment of the sovereign wealth fund, the NSI, and I'm sure that it is on the present leadership of this great institution.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his address delivered by Femi Majekodunmi, noted that Nigeria and most developing countries have stayed too long on communicable diseases at the expense of the ravaging non-communicable diseases, NCDs, adding that UCH had been designated as a center of excellence in neurological services and that the institution has the manpower to run a standalone cancer center.
The current state of our academic health institutions, including UCH, Ibadan, is worrisome because of poor funding, challenging and aging infrastructures, and recurrent strike actions of the health workers. What is more?
Minister of Health Professor Isaac Adewale promised that the federal government will refurbish and improve facilities in the teaching hospital in such a way that the efforts would entail focusing on cancer and cardiac-related diseases, while the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Temitope Alunge, says the hospital is desirous of the support of the Sovereign Wealth Investment Funds.
You see it, get the support it deserves. Can you continue to support? It is one of the 8 hospitals that we supported in terms of funding. In 2017, we had 9 million allocated in the 2017 budget.
This hospital has expanded our services to critical areas that are not existent in other institutions.
And now, as the Nigerian government continues to recover looted funds as part of its anti-corruption drive, civil society groups have charged the government to ensure transparency as it concerns what it does with the proceeds of corruption. This was the main submission at a Buhari Meter Town Hall meeting, a forum for civil society groups to give a thorough appraisal of the performance of the government as it concerns the fulfillment of the numerous campaign promises. At the event, the executive director of the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Awa Musa, said a strong case for the creation of an integrity trust fund, which would be a pool for the recovered looted money.
In the area of assets recovery, we have not yet still seen the blueprint of government, despite our own advocacy, or rather our own demand that, look, the recovered money must not be looted again, but there must be an integrity trust fund that should be set up to, be able to channel those resources to key, important infrastructure, like, for example, health, education, water and sanitation.
On her part, the director of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, Idaya Tazan, advocates that the recovered loot be used to fund the budget.
Prefer that it's actually used to fund the budget as against Nigeria borrowing, really. Then we can start talking in terms of concise gains in this anti-corruption fight.
Still to come, Customs hands over falsely declared pharmaceutical kits. Still on the news, the Tinkan Island Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has handed over 40-feet container of pharmaceutical products falsely declared as spare parts to the commander of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in Sejak at Tinkan, Lagos. The Customs Area Controller, Comptroller Bashar Yusuf, while handing over the container, reaffirmed the Customs' resolve to build on the existing interagency cooperation with all concerned regulatory agencies to intercept illicit and illegal goods at the ports. Speaking on the negative effect of drugs on the Nigerian youth, the controllers said the products are highly regulated and youths consume them illegally at an alarming proportion.
It is not just revenue collection or enforcement activities, but whatever will involve killing the Nigerian youth, we must stop it. If you look at it, 2019 is fast approaching. Electioneering will soon commence, and youth and those vagabonds being used by all sorts of people through this consumption of these drugs will increase. And we say, no, we must stop it from getting to the public. And that's why you see the NDLEA representative in Tinkan here. We are going to give him this, and they will do the needful.
The Customs Area Controller said the service is repositioned to tackle all forms of social vices among the youths and also promote national growth and development.
But there is no place apart from Nigeria which we can call our own. So every Nigerian should protect this country called Nigeria. And that's what we are doing today. It is not about revenue or trade facilitation. No, it is about we must cut social vices and whatever leads to it.
Receiving the container on behalf of the NDLEA, The commander in Chinkan Island in Sejak thanked the customs for the interception and assured them of the command's support in tackling all forms of criminality in the ports.
I wish to thank the controller of General Customs Service, Chinkan Command, and his staff for making this handing over possible today. This, as I said earlier, demonstrates the fact that we are working together here for the benefit of this nation, and we will continue to do so. And I wish to also plead that even when we are not here, the new set of officers from Custom, NDLA, or any other discipline that will come in here will continue the same thing. It's not a matter of it is the presence here, and when he leaves, another one comes and everything scatters. We'll continue to do the same thing for the benefit of this nation.
Moving on to election issues, former Anambra State Governor Chief Chukwuemeka Ezefe has described the relatively hitch-free Anambra governorship elections conducted at the weekend as a massive positive trademark for the Buhari-led government. Speaking to Galaxy's Godfrey Oshemoge in Abuja Monday, the elder statesman says going by the outcome of the Anambra election, there are signs of positive things ahead.
Thank Buhari, the president of Nigeria. That seems to be the beginning of good things to happen, because I think without the express approval of the president, the governors who were sleeping in Anambra State all the time would have managed to rig the election, but they couldn't.
Chief Ezefe commended the Anambra people for their commitment in making the governorship polls a success, devoid of incidences that could have marred the entire exercise.
I praise also the people of Anambra State, their consistency, their one-mindedness. Look at how it happened. The people had clearly one mind in the process.
On Saturday, the incumbent governor, Willie Obiano of Abga, won the election by polling 234,071 votes to defeat his closest rival, Tony Nwoye of the APC, who scored 98,752 votes. And now the Kwara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has rejected the result of the local government election declared by the State Independent Electoral Commission. Addressing journalists at the party secretariat in Ilorin, the chairman of the PDP, Iyola Oyedepo, said the election is a mockery of the electoral process. Oyedepo noted that the election was marred with harassment of his members, intimidation, and open display of already stamped ballot papers in some polling units.
These are the fake ballot papers. For APC, all these papers are trumpeted for APC. And this is just for one setter from Isin. If you come to Ilorin, on the road, you can see as many as possible of ballot papers. We have never done this type of election in our life.
Citing incident at Ilorin West local government area, he said the result sheets available to the party revealed that PDP convincingly won the election, wondering how another candidate will be declared the winner by the umpire. And on our next story, the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose on Monday signed into law a bill prohibiting secret cult, terrorism, and prescribing death sentence on anyone caught in the act. The governor, while appending his signature to the bill at the government house, Ado Ekiti, said his administration remained committed to combating terrorism across tertiary institutions in the state. Governor Fayose explained that life imprisonment also awaits anyone who encourages the setting up of a secret cult meeting or activities in places such as houses, nightclubs, hotels, and other residential areas.
Cult activities. This section 5.1 of the principal law is hereby amended by the deletion of the word 7 years without an optional fine and substitute with the word life.
Our correspondent Adjola Deribibe reports that the bill was enacted following the death of 2 students of the Ekiti State University who were murdered by suspected cultists last month. And now more stories coming up after this break.